Loving greetings, pranams, dear brothers and sisters. I'm very pleased to be with you all, joining this special meeting, special satsanga from all over the world at this quite dramatic time we've been through here in Los Angeles the last few days. I'm here at the Mother Center, just down a few feet away from our Guru's holy shrine upstairs. And from this beautiful ashram, so filled with his presence and blessings, I pray that all of you feel the waves of peace and divine love. That is his message and his blessing every day of the year to all of us around the world. Let's begin our gathering today by praying together. Feel the enveloping presence of God and the great ones, soothing our hearts and minds, filling us with strength, filling us with comfort and wisdom and assurance. Heavenly Father, Mother, friend, beloved God, Jesus Christ, Bhagavan Krishna, Mahavatar Babaji, Lahiri Mahashai, Swami Sri Yukteswar, our Guru Paramahansa Yogananda, saints of all religions, we bow to you all. Beloved God, awaken our hearts and minds. Fill us with the awareness of your all-pervading presence, right within us, all around us, filling us with your wisdom, with your strength, with your assurance and comfort, with your unconditional love. Be with us always. Live in our hearts. Live in our minds. Make us ever aware that we can never stray from your presence. Om. Peace. Amen. Well, my dears, I wanted to convene this special online meeting hastily after the events of the last few days. I should say, really for thousands and thousands, the extremely challenging last few days amidst these devastating fires that have been affecting several parts of Los Angeles, and including, of course, most closely of our places, the blessed SRF Lake Shrine. And I wanted to just begin by thanking you from my heart, and on behalf of all of Guruji's monks and nuns, thank you, each and every one, for your continuous flood of prayers, loving support, supportive thoughts, expressions of solidarity during these challenging times. It means so much to us, and partly the reason I wanted to come together like this is to express our gratitude and thanks to you. Now, of course, we know this is an ongoing situation. In some areas of Los Angeles, the fires are not even extinguished yet, although the danger to our lake shrine and the other SRF locations apparently has passed now. But keep praying, please. Keep us in your prayers. Keep Guruji's places in your prayers, and all who are in harm's way. Now, I think most of you know that over the last few days, our blog postings on the SRF website, we've given pretty much all the details about the current status of the lake shrine, and I'll go over it in just a few minutes in a little more detail. But beforehand, just to start off, just to summarize, for those who don't know, all of the spiritually historic legacy sites around the lake shrine have been safely preserved. They're out of danger by God's grace. In other words, the places that are personally associated with the life of our Guru, they're undamaged and safe. Same with the temple on the hillside above the lake and the retreat. Those were built in the 1990s under the direction of our revered Sri Dayamata. However, some other areas of our Lake Shrine Ashram did suffer damages, which I'll get into in a moment. And also, just to reassure everyone, all of our monks, all of our lay members, staff, and employees were safely evacuated ahead of the fire. The Lake Shrine monks are currently residing at our other ashrams in Southern California. And also, in addition to the Lake Shrine being safe, I wanted to mention right up front our Hollywood Temple, our Glendale Temple, those are also perfectly fine. They're safe. So even though this information mostly was conveyed and summarized on our website, I really wanted to take the opportunity to meet with you face to face, to have this time of connection it's what's been a very intense drama around our beloved Lake Shrine. And I'm not going to be giving an in-depth philosophical or class or talk, but again, just an opportunity for me to connect with you personally, to share information, and mostly to share our mutual love and friendship and the reinforcement of our strong faith and our bond with God and Guru and each other. So I'm going to go into a little bit about what's happened over the last few days. I'll say up front, it was quite dramatic, even quite intense, but it has a very happy and even miraculous ending. So bear with me. I think it's meaningful for all of you. I can tell from the messages that you have all posted on our blog and conveyed to us through other ways. I know how important all this is to you, so I really wanted to personally share this and give you a deeper understanding, a deeper glimpse of what happened. So it began, as you know, last Tuesday, January 7th, and there was a very powerful system of windstorms that had arrived in the Los Angeles area, flowing over from the inland high desert area, over the mountains, and then down into the Los Angeles basin. When we woke up on Tuesday morning, already the winds were very intense, very strong, and they continued to increase during that day, Tuesday. And it was around 10:30 that morning on January 7th when this fire began in the Pacific Palisades area, just a few miles from the Lake Shrine. The winds by then were ferocious. They were blowing steadily upwards of 50 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, but with gusts, hurricane strength gusts of up to 100 miles an hour over the course of the next 24-hour period. So that afternoon, we posted the first of our informational blog posts notifying our members around the world about the situation and requesting the prayers of all of you. And over the next 3 days, I have to tell you, those prayers, along with the blessings of God and Guru, and also the tireless efforts of some very heroic firefighters who were battling the blaze at Lake Shrine, All of these combined to protect, miraculously, I think we have to say, to protect this beautiful, sacred, consecrated shrine amidst what turned out to be almost unbelievable scenario of catastrophic destruction in the community around the lake shrine. Now, very early in the event, a legally mandatory evacuation order was given. That affected the whole area, including the lake shrine. And you can imagine, even though some of our intrepid monks wanted to perhaps stay and do their best to protect the site, this wasn't possible because of this mandatory evacuation order, which actually persists even until now. It hasn't been modified yet. But even though the monks and all of the civilian population had to be evacuated by this mandatory order, of course, the firefighters, the trained professionals, they were very active, doing their best to protect and save the entire community, thousands of houses and people who live around there, doing their best to save the lives and the property, not just the lake shrine. So to all of those amazing souls, those professional firefighters and first responders, our profound gratitude, profound appreciation. God bless them all. I can see also from your comments and your prayers, I'm so glad to see all of you, including in your prayers and in your goodwill and appreciation. Those firefighters who have been laboring so tirelessly on behalf of so many thousands. Now I want to first start by showing you some satellite images to give a sense of what happened. These show the burn areas. So if you can put on the screen the first one that shows the whole Los Angeles basin. So you see there on the left side of the screen in the center, that's the fire area around the lake shrine. The bright orange is the actual burn area. You can see Lake Shrine down there right near the coastline on the ocean. And then this shows the whole Los Angeles basin. Directly over to the right, there's downtown Los Angeles. And then up above it, our Hollywood Temple, our Mother Center, and our Glendale Temple. And then, as you all know from, if you've been following the news, another huge fire erupted in the mountains above Glendale, Pasadena area. And so that's that big orange area that you see over on the upper right hand of the screen. Okay, so now show the next one. Zoom in. This shows just the next picture will just show the, no, go to the next one, please. There you go. This shows a close-up of this Palisades fire, it's called. The lake shrine is you'll see when we go in closer, but this again shows the burn area. Just unimaginable devastation in this community of Pacific Palisades. And I know all of you feel as we do, just our hearts are just so filled with compassion and grief over what so many thousands have had to endure over these last few days and still ongoing. Now go into the next one, the close-up. So here you see in the midst of the fire area, this little strip right in the middle is where the lake shrine is located. It's that little, you can see the lake if you look real closely. It's right almost in the lower center of the screen. That amidst all of the areas that were affected by these ferocious fires, as we'll see as we go on, the lake shrine miraculously was divinely protected. So you can take that picture off now. And before I go on, I again just want to ask you all to join me, as I know you're feeling, just with 100% heart's sympathy and prayers and support and empathy and compassion for the many, many thousands who were devastated in the surrounding community. We'll talk more about that shortly and what we can do. Now, I think all of you have been, or most of you have been, seeing the images of the destruction in the news media constantly, probably over these past few days. So I'm not going to repeat what you've already seen. But I know you want to see what happened at the lake shrine. And that's really part of why I'm even giving this presentation. So we'll show some pictures later on. But again, please keep in mind, as I started with, everything turned out fine in the end. Now, just to give a little context for this, as probably most of you know, wildfires like this, they not only spread by moving along the ground and consuming all the flammable materials in their path, you know, homes or vegetation or trees or underbrush, that kind of thing. But in a situation like this that has these extremely high winds blowing, what happens is these airborne embers, live embers, can travel long distance, maybe even a mile or two, I'm told, and then land on structures or vegetation that may be quite distant from the main body of the fire. So that's what was happening at Lake Shrine starting on Tuesday, January 7th. These live embers were landing on the hillside and different parts of the meditation gardens, even on some of the buildings, as we'll see. But as it happened, among the wonderful firefighting team that had mobilized, not just at Lake Shrine, but over this incredibly wide area, many fires that were happening simultaneously in the Los Angeles area. Among those firefighters, we have a longtime devoted SRF member who's been a licensed fire safety professional for many, many years. So he was permitted inside the lake shrine, even despite the evacuation order. And it was he, along with his adult son and adult daughter that he brought with him, who are also trained fire safety professionals. The three of them, I have to tell you, I want you all to know this around Guruji's family around the world. The three of them worked tirelessly and valiantly, many hours at the lake on the worst day and night of the fire, and actually continuing even until today. This is Mr. Billy Assad and his son Nicky Assad and daughter Gabriela Assad. The three of them were literally running from one area of the lake shrine to the other, putting out the embers as they landed in the area around the lake before they could erupt into a more threatening fire. I want to give you just a glimpse of, can you play that number 4A? This shows the son and daughter hosing down the visitor center first and then the windmill chapel. You can play that now, please.
Get the whole roof.
Gabriela Assad, Nicky Assad up on the windmill.
What? Dad, there's a fire over there.
Got it.
This wonderful family of devotees, these were the divine instruments of God and Guru who literally saved the lake shrine. This is not an exaggeration. And I'm telling you this because I ask you, please, send them your love, send them your gratitude from your hearts. I know they are deeply, deeply blessed by God and our Guru. And when we can, we'll find a suitable way to honor them outwardly as well. Now, I want to tell you another part of the story, that one of our monks was instrumental in this drama of the saving of Lake Shrine. And it happened that not long ago, some months ago, this monk and other staff at the Lake Shrine, they built a barge that floats on the lake and that they use for maintenance around the shoreline. Can you show that number 18, that picture? So there's this barge, it goes around the lake. And then some months later, this monk, his brother Bodhananda, who lived at the Lake Shrine, later he was inspired to also purchase a powerful gas-powered water pump that could be mounted on the barge if we ever had an emergency use. This was months ago. So it's so wonderful to think about how all the pieces came together. Before the evacuation of the lake, Brother Bodhananda brought this water pump out of storage. He moved it onto the barge on the lake, and then he gave the keys to the firefighters before they had to evacuate, before the monks had to evacuate. And that enabled the firefighters to connect their own fire hoses and use the plentiful water supply right out of the lake to blast away any and all spot fires around the shores, including up the hillsides, on top of the Windmill Chapel, Visitor Center, the museum and gift shop. Show that photo 19 and 20, please. So here they are on the barge with this water cannon. This is one of our Lake Shrine devotees, longtime Kriyaban before the evacuation, Mr. Bill Lackner. And go to the next one. Protecting the Windmill Chapel. You can see the heavy smoke behind. Okay, now go to the diagram number 4, please. Now this just shows you, I want to give you an overview here. This is a diagram of the Lake Shrine. You can see there in the center left, Golden Lotus Archway and the Gandhi Memorial, and then going around to the left, around the shore of the lake, the houseboat, the Windmill Chapel, the Visitor Center, the museum, the visitor restroom, which we'll talk about in a moment. Then up the hill, you can't tell from this because this aerial shot, but as those of you who have been there know, the temple and retreat, which are there on the center right of the image, that's high up on the hillside above the lake, temple and retreat. And then far over to the left, it's Santa Ynez. That was part of the monks' quarters. And then the monks' ashram down in the lower right. I'll talk about these in a minute. But again, all of these areas around the lake, the Gandhi Memorial, the Golden Lotus Archway, the houseboat, the Windmill Chapel, all of these things, the museum, Court of Religions, everything were saved on that day of devastation. I'll show you pictures later on that shows after the fire. Now here's an interesting thing that you see on the diagram where it says visitor restroom right there in the lower center of the image. This was when you come into the pathway around the lake, there was a small visitor restroom facility, which that was destroyed by fire. That was completely burned to the ground. But it's just, I'm still in awe that 20 feet away across the wooden path, you'll see in the pictures, as we'll show later on, is our wonderful heirloom museum that houses so many of the personal artifacts of our Guru's life, untouched, undamaged. Even though probably in a fire like that, we're told upwards of 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and yet only the restroom burned down. And then similarly, you see in the lower part of the screen there where it says apartment building. This was not owned by SRF. This was just a commercial apartment building on the hill below the temple. The temple again is higher up on the hill, but tragically that apartment building was completely burned to the ground. And again, such sympathy and such empathy for the poor people there inside. They all got out. Nobody was harmed, but their dwelling place is lost. But again, all of these very powerful fires and conflagrations, and yet the temple, the museum, all of the structures around the lake, the ashram, which is right next door to that apartment building, hardly either not damaged at all or very minor damage. Can you show photos at 21 to 23? Okay, let's see. This is not exactly what let's see what we got here. Okay, start with number 5. Okay, this is the Gandhi Memorial. You can see the hillside burned behind it, but the memorial itself untouched, undamaged. Next. Yeah, this is very dramatic. The towers, and then up above across Sunset Boulevard, homes that were literally going up in flames. Next. This is that restroom I was telling you about, completely destroyed by the fire. And then go to the next picture. And then you see at the bottom of the stairs is where the restroom was, and over to the right, that building with the shingles and the roof, that's the museum. So you can see how close that came, and yet completely protected, completely undamaged. Next. Little video of the top of the lake. Again, no damage up here. Here's Mr. Billy Assad keeping the fire safe. That's the temple parking structure up above at the top, and keeping the fire from that tragic burn of the apartment building from spreading up and threatening the temple. Next. Here's the monks' ashram, which was right a few yards really from the apartment building. Many of our monks live here, about half of them. That's completely undamaged except for one little window you see here. This is the only damage to the main monks' ashram. Next. Yeah, same thing. That's the side of the monks' ashram. Just that one little part was slightly damaged. Next. Now this was where some of our monks had their quarters, and this old Santa Ynez Inn that SRF acquired some decades ago, this part was destroyed. This was the residence of 7 of our monks. Again, all of them are safe, no problem, but this was the one part, this was the most extensive damage in the Lake Shrine site. Okay, I think that's, yeah, just go on to the next ones then. Yeah, so this was the same day of the fire, but I wanted you to see this. The lake is as beautiful and as untouched and pristine as ever. Next. Here's down around the lake. Again, everything has been kept just as you all who have visited there remember. Next. Windmill Chapel. Okay, another walking around the lake. All the vegetation, all the meditation gardens, except for some minor undergrowth being burned away. Everything is fine. Okay, there we go. And there's Master's houseboat. Okay, go to the next one then. Okay, yeah, these are our beautiful family of devotee fire professionals that Billy Assad, Gabriella Assad, and Nikki Assad in their firefighting gear. And our inexpressible gratitude for what they have managed to do for all of Guruji's family around the world. Okay, you can turn that off now. Well, I wanted to give you a glimpse. Again, please keep in mind that the Lake Shrine has been saved, it's been preserved. And I also want to say a few things about this before we move on. You know, those of you who have been following this path for years, you know, on the path of divine communion, we don't speak much about our sacred experiences, do we? And I tell you, these last few days, witnessing what has taken place at the Lake Shrine, this is truly a spiritual experience. And because of that, accordingly, I don't plan to talk too much more about it, other than it's for the same reason that we don't talk about our other spiritual experiences. You know why? Because it's too easy just to become proud or smug or to feel that somehow we're better than others who didn't fare as well. I want to share this thought with you that our Guru would have abhorred any sense of superiority complex based on the fact that we were spared while others have suffered. That's completely opposite to the spirit of his life, his open-hearted universality, his love and concern for the welfare of all. So I really want to make this point. This is not a time for philosophizing or speculating about why we were protected and why others, including many of the other churches in the area, were not. Most of you, I know, understand that there's a profound spiritual science behind the unfolding of world events. In my class at this last convocation a few months ago, I spoke about how mass karma works and how the saints and the masters are involved. And there'll be other opportunities to explore these metaphysical and philosophical principles. But now, dear ones, for now our consciousness should just revolve around one thought. What can we do to help? What can we do to help? As I mentioned, and as you all know, literally thousands who were in the path of this devastation are suffering. They're enduring great personal loss, including a number of our dear SRF members in the Pacific Palisades community, and also elsewhere in Los Angeles, had their homes and all their possessions destroyed in the fire. I don't know how many at this time, but like so many in Los Angeles, our SRF family, including staff members, some have lost their homes. Many have been evacuated. Many are still worrying about loved ones or parents or grandparents or pets and dealing with this turmoil and uncertainty and fear and loss. So that's why principal reason why I wanted to come together with you today. Like a family, we come together in difficult times. That's our Guru's spirit. Even though we're separated by thousands and thousands of miles, there's that bond of spirit, that inner connectedness that we have with each other. And it's been so heartwarming. So it just fills my heart to read the comments that you've been writing on the blog, to know that you've been praying around the clock. Many of the comments said people staying up all around late at night to keep praying for the lake shrine, for the firefighters, for the safety of everyone affected by the fires throughout Los Angeles. But let me just say now to those of you who are listening, who are here in the Los Angeles area, and particularly those who are in the areas affected by the fire, in the Palisades area, in the Pasadena or Altadena area where that Eaton fire was burning. For I know this is a time of shock, of trauma for many. And let me urge you, please seek help through the many community resources that you can find online. Please also call the Mother Center for spiritual counseling. We're here for you. Our monks and our nuns will give you a sympathetic ear. And don't underestimate this, because when you're going through a trauma like this, it really helps a lot just to be able to talk to somebody who can listen to you. So we're here for you. Call the Mother Center if you've suffered a catastrophic loss like this. And above all, try to meditate as best you can. Nobody would expect, the gurus don't expect that it's going to be the kind of meditation you would have under normal circumstances, but even for a few minutes, to tune in with the help and the support from these prayers that I described that are broadcasted by our monastics, by our united worldwide spiritual family. These are being poured out to you from our ashrams, from SRF YSS devotees all over the world. Join the online meditation center if you can. Meditate, 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 even briefly, to keep up your divine connection, that source of guidance, that source of hope, of courage, to keep that alive and reinforced by contact with God and Guru and your spiritual family of brother and sister disciples. So again, to those who have lost homes or lost their properties in this fire, know that you're not alone either, because those who were affected, as I mentioned, it includes also 7 of our dear monks. Of the 14 monks who reside at the lake shrine, 7 of them, half, had their living quarters destroyed, as I showed in that picture. Lost everything except what they had with them. And one of them at least told me he was off site at an appointment elsewhere in the city when the evacuation order was given, and he never even had a chance to go back and get anything, only what he had with him. So as monks, of course, as sannyasis, renunciants, our monks have the training in renunciation to rely on. In fact, I'd like to share with you, not to make light of the situation, but some have even said to me that after the initial shock, they actually felt a sense of inner freedom, great freedom from within. And I'm sure on other occasions you'll hear directly from them about their experiences. But again, for those particularly in the Lake Shrine congregation, Lake Shrine will have to remain closed. The whole Pacific Palisades area is still in a state of emergency response and therefore closed. But we are arranging that sometime, as soon as we can, within the next week or so, couple of weeks, we'll have a special video broadcast for the Lake Shrine convocation from our Lake Shrine ministers, Brother Satyananda and Brother Tyagananda, to reach out and connect with the Lake Shrine spiritual community, so many of whom are currently enduring such great personal loss. So for those of you on the Lake Shrine Temple mailing list, watch your email for a link for that event. Next point, I'm just going over some practical details here about the situation. You know, our Guru started this, what has evolved into our voluntary League of Disciples, and it started as a welfare way of outreaching and providing help to those who were in need and undergoing difficulties. And he was always so happy to hear of SRF members reaching out to help other devotees in time of need. So today I'm asking all of our other SRF temples in Southern California, those that are particularly outside of the affected area, that means Encinitas, San Diego, Fullerton, the rest of them, I'm asking them to organize a food and clothing drive to collect necessary items for everyone who lost their homes and possessions. I'm not talking only about SRF members now. We want to do this as a charitable outreach for the Los Angeles area at large. And these will be distributed through the various charitable relief organizations in the Los Angeles area. I also want to let you know that SRF, with the funds that come in through our voluntary league efforts, SRF will be donating to some of these local charities and relief efforts, especially for those that are underserved, and for the firefighters. We'll be making donations in the name of SRF to several of these. California Community Foundation, that helps with recovery needs like temporary housing, rebuilding, even mental health and medical care, and also provides assistance and equipment to firefighters and so on. Also, the Community Organized Relief Effort, the CORE organization. It's a global humanitarian organization that helps underserved communities around the world. And also to the California Fire Foundation, that specifically offers aid to our dear and cherished firefighters who have done so much in situations like this. So if you're asking, and I know many of you in the comments have said, how can we help? How can we help? And God bless you for that attitude. You may wish to consider reaching out on your own to any of these relief organizations. Many of you have also asked, how can you contribute to SRF for the Lake Shrine in response to this situation? And my heart just is filled with love for those of you. That's the spirit of divine fellowship. That's the fellowship in Self-Realization Fellowship. So thank you for your kind offers. And we'll put some information you'll see in the description below the video window. We'll put some links to our website blog where we'll have information about that. Now let me turn to another part of the story. One of the iconic features of the Lake Shrine is that court of religions that our guru had constructed there when you come into the lake area, with the monuments to the principal world religions to affirm that common ground, that universality among all the world religions. And in that spirit, our Lake Shrine monks, led by minister in charge, Brother Satyananda, in the last day or two, have reached out to the pastors and the faith leaders of other religious congregations in the community, many of whom their buildings were destroyed or had extensive damage. Their lead clergy, many of them have lost their homes. So in that spirit of unity and brotherhood and harmony among all faiths, as soon as conditions allow, the Lake Shrine is going to sponsor a gathering of the local religious groups, the clergy and the faith leaders, for interfaith fellowship and prayer at the Lake Shrine. And as soon as when the Lake Shrine is able to reopen, we will be inviting congregations of all these faiths to come and join the services, having lost their own place of spiritual worship. So though our own temple and our sanctuary escaped the carnage, for which we are not only grateful, but we should be humble. We should be humble in the face of what we have been spared when so many others have been devastated. And we're deeply grieved. And let's all offer our prayers, offer our goodwill, our solidarity with these other faith traditions who are also doing their best, doing their part to spiritually serve God's children in their own ways, and who lost their buildings. In my New Year's satsang just a few days ago, January 3rd, I expressed to all of you that how the Mother Center was meant to be a spiritual beacon, a broadcasting station of light and spiritual vibrations. And today I also want to say the same is true for Lake Shrine, in a slightly different way, but just as powerfully. This year is the 75th anniversary of the Lake Shrine. We'll be having events later in the year. But again, just to reflect on the unique and beautiful parts of the Lake Shrine, the Court of All Religions, the Gandhi World Peace Memorial, that beautiful meditation gardens and sanctuary open to anyone to come and feel a divine presence, a divine peace, the temple, the retreat. The Lake Shrine truly symbolizes inner peace. It symbolizes harmony among all faiths. It symbolizes, I would say, the blessings of spiritual sanctuary. I think we all look at it, and this is what it means to us and to many in the community. It's a physical monument to the spiritual aspirations of humanity. And I like to think of it, particularly in times like this, it's a symbol. It's a symbol that there are powerful spiritual resources that all people can access, regardless of their faith tradition, that they can access to discover an inner wellspring of peace, of joy, attunement with the guiding voice of soul intuition. So to me, the survival of this beloved shrine, it means so much to so many because of what it represents. And it represents our hope. It represents our faith, that spiritual light, a higher consciousness of love and unity and harmony will be able to endure in this world despite all contrary forces of Maya, delusion, and destruction. Let us hold that thought. Let us hold that image. And by our prayers, by our meditations, by our practice of Guruji's path, this worldwide fellowship, all of you, you can help to direct and channel through that symbol of the lake shrine, that spirit of universality, that spirit of solace and comfort. You know, for so many decades, the lake shrine has been just a cherished part of the Pacific Palisades community. I'm not talking about just for the members, the SRF members that live there, but for all the neighbors, all the community members, for its openness, its welcoming spirit, for everyone who wants to come and visit a quiet sanctuary for spiritual reflection or renewal or meditation, just feeling a sense of peace. Many people in the surrounding community, some of whom, of course, are members of SRF, but most of whom are not, yet they've been our good neighbors and friends for many years. And as soon as the evacuation lockdown is lifted, and as soon as we can put our grounds back in order, we look forward to welcoming visitors from the local community and, of course, from around the world to come and recharge their spirits in that calmness, in that serenity, that beauty, that harmony of the lake shrine. You know, I make this point because this is the form of service that our Gurus organization has uniquely specialized in, and what we freely offer. As I mentioned, other community organizations and other charities provide other forms of service, other forms of relief, assistance with food, with clothing, and so on. And as I mentioned, SRF will be supporting those with charitable contributions out of our voluntary league funds to help the people that have been affected in the local area, while we continue to offer that service that is our unique specialty. And that is, again, providing a sanctuary of inner peace, of reflection, of renewal, particularly in times like this, so that people can find within themselves the healing, the emotional, psychological, and above all, spiritual resources to regain their balance during these incredibly challenging times. What I'm saying, I know, resonates and flows equally from your own consciousness and your own hearts. Let me just share a few of the hundreds and hundreds of messages that were on our blog. These really, they all touched me, but these I thought I would share with all of you. One individual wrote this: "My heart is deeply touched for all those who lost their homes and possessions. These are very difficult life lessons, and I send them all my compassion." You know, this is the spirit of a disciple of Paramahansa Yogananda, a real yogi who feels for others as we feel for ourselves. And so she goes on and says, "In these trials, we are reminded of who we truly are, eternal souls in this very short experience of earthly incarnation. May God bless them all. For a time, Lake Shrine will stand as an untouched sanctuary amidst the rubble, an anchor of hope in the heart of devastation." So beautifully expressed. Another devotee wrote, I hope that people that have suffered such difficult losses from this fire will come to Lake Shrine and find comfort and hope on its grounds. Exactly at what we all feel. Another person, this is so beautiful, wrote, when all are safe and the firefighters are able to stand down, can they be invited to spend time on the grounds for an experience of our gratitude and for some peace and recovery time? I would come and serve myself if I didn't live in New Zealand. Jai Guru. Well, that beautiful thought, you'll be happy to know that's already happening. Even in the last day or two, during break from the firefighting, the firefighters have been able to take some rest time around the lake shores. They told one of our monks that they felt deeply blessed, deeply imbued by the vibrations of peace. One of them said, what is this place? We never even knew such a place existed. So that is the power of Lake Shrine. That is the power of Guruji's outreach in so many different forms. That is, again, the service that we specialize in through the help and through the participation of all of you. Another person wrote, may God and Gurus continue to protect all those in harm's way. Praise the Lord for SRF, and may the golden domes at Lake Shrine beam blessings among the darkness. You know, a few years ago when our convocation, in-person convocation, had to be put on hold during the pandemic, we created a virtual pilgrimage tour of the Lake Shrine. And today I've asked our website staff to reinstate that virtual tour page now so that any of you or anyone else can experience Lake Shrine, at least virtually, during this time when the physical site, the physical sanctuary is closed down. So please look again in the description box beneath the video window. There'll be a link there to that tour. Also is a link to our website blog, where I encourage you to look back there from time to time. We're going to use that to provide updates about any new information as it may become pertinent. So let me close with these thoughts that so many of you around the world have expressed in the comments on the blog and just in your lives about, again, how the Lake Shrine symbolizes for them this idea of spiritual sanctuary, but not just in an outer sense. More importantly, it symbolizes that inner spiritual sanctuary that we all strive to create within ourselves through the practice of meditation, through the practice of Kriya Yoga, through the devotional attunement with the divine. And to me, the survival of the Lake Shrine, it symbolizes that we and anyone can have that sanctuary of peace, sanctuary of harmony and divine communion within ourselves that can never be destroyed by any type of negative circumstances. So again, it's deeply moving, it's inspiring, and yes, as I said, deeply humbling to reflect that in the midst of the incredible devastation of the local community, the Divine Mercy spared at least one place, which happens to be our blessed Lake Shrine, one place as an iconic symbol that there is an inner sanctuary that each human being can access within themselves. A sanctuary of peace, sanctuary of wisdom, a sanctuary where we can find that awakened consciousness of our invincible soul potentials. You know, it was very fortuitous, no doubt divinely planned, like so much else, that the online inspirational service that was published this week, it ties in with this. It was called Know Yourself as the Immortal Soul. And it was given at the Lake Shrine Temple by our minister in charge there, Brother Satyananda. You know, these online talks, these are scheduled many weeks in advance. This one was recorded a whole year ago in January of last year at the Lake Shrine. But it emphasizes this theme. I am an immortal soul. I am eternal. I cannot be touched or harmed by any of the negative circumstances in this world of Maya delusion. So that's what was broadcast from our beloved Lake Shrine, even today. I have, let me just show you a couple more pictures. Can you go to number 22 and 23? Yeah, they're the swans. Swans are okay. Everybody was asking about them. This is how Guruji wants us to be, paddling like mad under the surface, but serene and calm on top in our outer life. And next one, there's our divine shepherd, Gurudev, seated on the shores of the Lake Shrine, August 20th, 1950, houseboat behind him, hillsides behind him. I want to invite all of you who are watching this, gaze into that divine face, gaze into those eyes, feel the touch of those blessed hands, which is the veritable caress of the Infinite Mother, the Mother of compassion, the Mother of eternal love, who is our life, who is our grace, who is our salvation. Feel that divine presence emanating from our beloved Gurudev. That's what he wants you to receive. So, dear ones, I think that's enough for today. You can go to, once again, my deepest and heartfelt thanks for your prayers these past few days and ongoing. And I hope what I wanted in this presentation today, I wanted you to see for yourself what a powerful effect they have had. What a life lesson this is for us. The power, as our Guru emphasizes and teaches us and instructs us in the methods of doing so, the power of prayer, the power of positive thought and intention, the power of an unshakable divine inner relationship with God, built up through our daily practice of meditation. What a powerful effect they can have. And may this intense and dramatic few days, this dramatic episode, impress on all of us very deeply how important it is for each of us to create that inner sanctuary of the soul within ourselves. Our Guru said it so beautifully. Just close your eyes and listen to these words. He said, when tigers of worries or sickness and death are chasing you, your only sanctuary is the inner temple of silence. The spiritually deep individual lives day and night in a calm, interior silence into which neither menacing worries nor even the crash of colliding worlds can intrude. And he said, cleanse your mind of all negation, all fear, worry, anger, and fill it with thoughts of love, thoughts of service, joyous expectation. In the sanctum of your heart, there must be enshrined one power, one joy, one peace, God. So, my dear ones, I would like to let us join together and reinforce these truths by practicing an affirmation together. Can you join in with me as we affirm? Close your eyes again. Feel that vibration, powerful flood of divine vibrations from God and Guru, filling your heart with divine conviction. And now affirm with me, I know that God's power is limitless. And as I am made in His image, I too have the strength to overcome all obstacles. We'll do that again. I know that God's power is limitless. As I am made in His image, I too have the strength to overcome all obstacles. I know that God's power is limitless. And as I am made in His image, I too have the strength. I too have the strength. I too have the strength to overcome all obstacles. Now another one, I'm going to read it and then we'll come back and repeat. Dear Father, whatever conditions confront me, I know that they represent the next step in my unfoldment. I will welcome all tests because I know that within me is the intelligence to understand and the power to overcome. So affirm with me, dear Father, whatever conditions confront me, I know that they represent the next step in my unfoldment. I will welcome all tests because I know that within me is the intelligence to understand and the power to overcome. Within me is the intelligence to understand and the power to overcome. May that invincible and victorious soul consciousness abide in you during these times of trial and challenge and throughout life's journey. May you feel yourself, your consciousness constantly dwelling in that divine inner sanctuary, that refuge that Guru has built for us, that Kriya Yoga Sharanam that I've spoken about in the past, that shelter that He has created and invites us into through our practice of meditation and Kriya Yoga. He is always with us. He is with us now. He will be with us until eternity, until we achieve that same universal, immortal, divine consciousness that He Himself has achieved. Now let us perform the healing technique that our Guru gave us. Close your eyes, feel the all-pervading Om vibration flowing in through your brain, into your nerves, filling your whole body, your heart, feelings, muscles are vibrating with that divine Om. That healing power, that harmonizing power. Know and feel, know and feel. Now we will rub our hands together and broadcast that vibration of healing and comfort and strength to all who are in need. Let us pray first. Divine Mother, Thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all Thy children. Manifest Thy healing presence in their bodies. Rub the hands. Gather that Om vibration, that divine energy, and send it forth. Om. Pray all together. Divine Mother, Thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all Thy children. Manifest Thy healing presence in their minds. Now rotate the hands. Gather that energy, gather that healing vibration. Send it out to all. Om. Divine Mother, Thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all Thy children. Manifest Thy healing presence in their souls. Om. Now with upraised hands, visualize that great light and healing power of God going out all over the Los Angeles area, bringing help and comfort and protection to all in harm's way, to all the firefighters, all those who have experienced loss and fear and suffering. Let them feel and receive this unseen, uplifting vibration. Om. And one more time for that light and healing vibration to encircle the whole world, the whole globe, our whole human family and all beings with that divine light and uplifting vibration. Om. Let's have a closing prayer together. Heavenly Father, Mother, friend, beloved God, Jesus Christ, Bhagavan Krishna, Mahavatar Babaji, Lahiri Mahashai, Swami Sri Yukteswarji, our beloved Gurudev Paramahansa Yogananda, saints of all religions, we bow to you all. Beloved God, beloved Gurus, our hearts are filled with gratitude and love for your presence in our lives. Lead us ever onward and upward on the path of our own self-realization. Bless all those who are affected in these terrible times of devastation. May they find help. May they find healing. May they find renewal and courage. Beloved God, may thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all hearts. Om. Peace. Amen. May you put Guruji's picture back on, please. Numbers. So in his name, my dears, I send you my own prayers and love and gratitude. Thank you that we could all come together on this very serious occasion, but to feel that we are united in his name, at his feet. And may we increasingly become those channels for his light and his love and compassion and service to all who cross our path. God bless you, dear ones, until we meet again. Jai Guru.